So just to introduce myself, my name is Matilda Siebrecht. I actually am also a microware specialist. I worked under Anna Lou, and I worked as a volunteer at the initial house building project at Masamuda. But I come to you today with another hat on as the director of EXARC, which is one of the partners in the project Putting Life into Neolithic Houses. So, very quick introduction. This will be very different to all of the talks you've seen before, by the way. EXARC is the International Association for Experimental Archaeology and Open-Air Museums. The aim is to create a network that connects professionals working in experimental archaeological research, ancient traditional technologies, open-air museum management, and cultural heritage interpretation. And I know a lot of you here today are EXARC members. Lovely to meet you all in person. We have around 450 members from every continent apart from Antarctica, which we're hoping one day to get an Antarctic member. Both individuals, so professionals who are working in various aspects, and also institutions. So for example, the Material Culture Lab here is a member. So when we came into this project, our role was not necessarily from the research perspective. We've seen some amazing research that has come out of this project so far. Our role was to assist with the communication and the dissemination of the project through various different formats. Hopefully, you will have seen some of these over the last couple of years. We have had some podcast episodes with different people involved in the project. We have a whole playlist on the EXARC YouTube channel, where, by the way, the recorded videos from this symposium will also be uploaded, so you can watch them back later. We have various different social media posts, of course, doing things, and we have had quite a few articles in the EXARC journal. That was sort of the way of doing outreach, of disseminating the results of the project. Something, though, that was also very important for the project goals was to connect with present audiences and actually interact with those from outside the project while it was still going on and while it was still being undertaken. So this was hoped to adapt the interpretations as they were taking place, to expand the analysis as the project developed, which therefore was why EXARC became involved, because we have this wide reach. And it was really nice to see interactions between not just the specialists in the network and in the project, but also collaboration with those from outside the field. This was done through Kelvin's pictures, which you will hear all about later. We asked for feedback on them. We got some insights into them. So yeah, I just wanted to give a very quick talk about why I think that this is really important when studying the past. Of course, as we've seen, we have a wide range of specialists involved in the project, all of whom are very good at what they do, all of whom have potentially very specialized things that they're doing. Maybe some are a little broader, some have years and years of experience, some are new to the field. And the point is that these collaborations are what makes projects like these so successful and allow us to have all of these amazing interpretations that have been shared with us today. By expanding this network out, however, you can fill in any gaps that still might exist, because let's face it, not everyone knows everything, and there'll always be someone who has some tiny little element that they could contribute, or an extra question. We've had some great questions here today that have already made us think again about, okay, but no, what about this? And oh, that's a good point, that is something extra that we hadn't considered, or we will be doing that later. So by having other people involved from outside the project itself, by collaborating in that way, it's kind of the ultimate form of open science. And open science is extremely important. It's sort of processes are published as they go. Results are shared before they're finalized, and the wider research community is then invited to share their feedback on preliminary interpretations. So it's almost a sort of form of friendly peer review and distant collaboration while the interpretations themselves were still being formed. I just wanted to highlight very quickly, this is very different, I know, from things that we've been talking about before, but I think that projects like this, of course, everyone here is interested in the project. We're all interested in this topic. We're all interested in archaeology. That's why we do what we do. We're not in archaeology for the money and the fame. But the question is always, from outsiders, okay, but why is this project actually important? Why should we give you the money for it? Why is it important to fund it? By conducting outreach during the project itself, by disseminating the research in this way, that's something that can help to show the relevance of archaeology to society. There's many issues in the modern world. I put a couple up here. Climate issues becoming stronger. Understanding of the human condition is becoming more and more biased by political agendas. Borders are becoming much stricter. But by looking at how society has functioned in the past, we can at least make sure that the correct version of different past events is being shared, and that people are aware of what happened, so that, for example, things like political agendas cannot take archaeology and use it for their own use. And that's why projects such as this can hopefully broaden modern perspectives and also not just show us insights into the past, but also help us to think about how we actually look at cultures, how we look at societies in the present, and even maybe in the future. I guess the point that I wanted to make just by sharing this is to say, while of course I think that it's fantastic, the research that's being done here, for me personally, some of the project goals and the fact that outreach was such an important part of it, that collaboration was such an important part of it, is to me one of the most important parts of the research project. And hopefully they can show a good example of the importance of those connections in the present, not just to research the past, but also to actually look towards the future. Hopefully they encourage us to keep an open mind to different perspectives and interpretations, and to keep connecting not just within our field, but also outside of it.